Oh, hey everyone. Just working on trying to get this crusty water pump off this engine. Couldn't save the radiator. Thing was too plugged up. Got a new one coming. Should be here tomorrow. Get this new water pump changed out. Maybe we can actually let this thing run for a little while. See if we can get her dialed in and running the way she should be. Getting kind of lucky with these bolts that go through the cover. These things, they love to seize up, bust off. Had pretty good luck with these ones though. This big old AC compressor out of our way. Alternator gotta come off first. I'm gonna take this lower bracket off. Sits here over the top of the water pump. Well, crusty. Crusty. These bottom ones here I worry about too. They go directly into the aluminum timing cover. That's one come loose. That's two. Well, it should be a nice. I can't tell you how many of these old crusty water pumps I've had to change. Ended up breaking bolts off in this damn timing cover. Steel and aluminum. It likes to seize itself together. Look at that. How's that for luck? I can almost remember putting this water pump on 30 years ago. Gas station parking lot in Lake Elsinore, California. Yeah, it's funny. It's getting old shit. Half the time I can't tell you what I ate for dinner yesterday, but by God, I can tell you when I put this water pump on this car 30 years ago. Ain't that something? We got to get the power steering out of the way too. It's all right. Bolt here. That one fought more than the water pump bolts. Take it loose. Probably go chasing that spacer down the shop floor. Stay in there for now. And it can sit right there. That ain't in the way. Alternator out of here. Hopefully wires are long enough it'll just sit. I got this thing apart. I might go ahead try to make me a new hard line for this fuel. Two bolts here to get out. This dipstick out the way. Change on the oil too. Thing running again. Don't need to be circulating that old oil through it. These two bolts here. Get this line loose. Maybe I'll just pop this loose. We'll just get this compressor up out of here for a minute. this one off. Tell you what, if you guys ain't never seen one of these, it is about the handiest stinking tool I got. Right angle impact, 3/8 drive. Get in there and get them stubborn bolts out of there pretty easy. Tight quarters. Look at that. How's that handy? I don't remember what I give for it. I know it'll come off the Cornwell truck. Be willing to bet Harbor Freight's got them. Maybe not as good. Maybe they are. Who knows? I know that's been a good one to me. This sucker's been on here more than a couple minutes. Ah, there we go. Maybe, yeah. One of these days I'd like to find a condenser for this thing. This old AC working again. It did work once, and it worked good. Of course, that's been 30 years ago, too. Condenser got a hole in it. Took it to a radiator shop to try and get it fixed. Bastards lost it. And I never bothered hunting one down. Boy, I sure wished I would have. You can get these aftermarket ones nowadays, but God almighty, they want $500 for them. Sure don't see the hole. No, there it is. Hole rotted right through that damn thing. Look at that. Rotted a hole right through that aluminum. Remember how I was talking about them bolts seizing up in that aluminum? Right there. Remember when that happened too, and I didn't have any choice. I was on the side of the road changing that pump out. Got lucky, it never did leak. I think today I'm a little better equipped. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't get that sucker out of there. We'll get her back together with the bolt in there where it belongs. For the first time in 30 years. Tell you, I can go back and undo some of the dumb shit I did to this car when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. If only, right? It's alright. Thankful I've still got it. There's a lot of us out there that let them get away. Little at a time, make her new again. Oh, you guys seen guys use them whiz wheels on this aluminum. I don't like to do it, because if you ain't careful, you'll get it where it ain't flat anymore and you'll have a leak. I'd rather take my time, scrape it with a razor blade and get it that way instead of getting it all wavy and got to use a bunch of that stinking sealer on it. Well, what we're going to do here, I'm going to set a nut over top of that busted bolt and fill it full of weld. And that heat will get in there too when we weld her up. Hopefully break it loose and let us work that sucker right out of there. Had pretty good luck getting exhaust bolts out and past that way. Let's get her clean so we can get a good weld. Little wire wheel action there. Bring that up back, nice shiny steel. Set that nut on there just like that and weld it up. Let me grab the welder, get it over here. Nut. And then like that. Weld that dude up. Maybe, with any luck, should come out of there. Probably not a real good place for that. Now the trick is, do it while it's still hot. That heat works for you. Or you just break the damn nut back off. Let's get another nut, try it again. Alright guys, I'm back. Camera overheated, bolts out. That's a fight that I just as soon not have to fight again anytime soon. What a pain in the butt. Do yourself a favor when you're doing these. Use a little bit of this Permatex thread sealer. It's Teflon in it. Or use a little bit of anti-seize on the thing. Keep that bolt sticking. It corrodes to that aluminum, and that's the kind of crap that happens. This one and these two bottom ones, and you want to use that thread sealer on these four anyways, because they go into the water. What I like to do, I don't like to use a whole lot of that sealer crap. This stuff right here. This aviation forma gasket just puts a little bit of tack on there, keeps that gasket in place. Real good stuff. So all I'm going to do is brush a little bit of it here on the back side of the water pump. Try and keep this fan from blowing it everywhere, but it's too doggone hot not to have the fan going. we're just gonna have to deal with it. All we want's a thin coat, just a tack. Keep the gasket in place. It does help seal a little bit. Keep it from seeping later. Remember, these bolt holes go into water, so I like to surround the bolt hole just to hedge that bet. A little bit of extra security that we're not going to get any coolant seeping out past the bolts. And this is a brand new water pump. I won't use a reman. Remember I said, I remember when I put this water pump on this car last 30 years ago in a gas station parking lot. Well, I'll tell you why I remember it. So I had a buddy go get me a water pump, bring it out with some tools so I could change the thing out. We went to all the hassle of changing that water pump out in the parking lot. Filled it up with antifreeze, lit her off, and the car ran about 10 seconds before it spit the shaft out. Damn near put the fan through the radiator. Never again. That was 30 years ago. Never again if I bought a frickin' used water pump, or a reman water pump rather. And I won't do it. Yeah, takes a shitty story like that to make you remember. Ain't that something? See, that stuff will tack up. Keep that gasket on there for a minute. I'll go ahead and brush the other side of it. Gasket. Got it all nice and coated with the sealer. Put me a little bit of Teflon on this bolt. Just like that. Don't need a lot. On this top bolt, reason for that, like I said before, is to keep that son of a gun from scalding in there and corroding, causing us to have to go through that kind of fight like we just did again. Take our two shorter ones here and do the same. These are the ones that go down on the bottom. There, a bit on there. Get them dudes started. I ain't running them down tight, just running them down. I'm not going to put any sealer on these bolts yet. Just make sure they all start. And then I'll go ahead and torque them other three. Actually, this one down here, I'll go ahead and seal him up, run him in there too. That alternator bracket. A little bit of thread sealer. Run that that dude in there like that. That one's in. And these other two, power steering. Our air conditioning bracket went on this one and this one. Let's see, I already done screwed up, I think. This bolt, yeah, this bottom bolt also held on the power steering. Let's spin him back out of there. Get us a little bit of sealer on here. Go ahead and run this one in too. Grab a torque wrench and I'll be right back. 3/8 bolt, usually happy about 30 foot-pounds. That's what I'm going to put on them. This way we know we got good even clamping pressure. Only bolt I could find to go in here is a nice ARP bolt, so what the hell, that's what it's getting. Didn't have any in there before, so this is a bonus. I'm going to go ahead and replace the bypass hose. Put the AC compressor back on. It's such a pain in the butt to get to it. It just ain't worth it for a $10 part. Just change the thing and be done. Situate this clamp in such a way that you do have half a chance of getting at it if we need to later. That ain't gonna work quite like that because we gotta have another one going on there for the heater hose. Okay guys, so it's tomorrow. Got the fuel lines done. You might ask why I put that fuel filter way down there. I think it'd be easier to service if it was up top. The reason I do it, if anybody's ever had a fuel fire from a leaking fuel filter, dripping gasoline down on top of a hot engine, that's exactly why I put it down there. Nobody wants a fuel leak at all, but if it's gonna leak, let it leak on the ground instead of on the hot motor. Everybody hates these stupid things, these stupid spring clamps. I found a use for them. Hold that piece of rubber hose around that line to keep it from rubbing on that metal bracket there. The rest of it's completely solid all the way down to the fuel pump. The Champion radiator from Jegs showed up today. Really nice piece. I'm a little disappointed though. Try and get you down in here. See that bolt down there? Doesn't quite fit the way it should. It's going to be an easy enough fix. I don't know, can you see that? Just off by about half a bolt. I think the top holes are going to line up okay, but everything else is just perfect. As you can see down inside there, it's only a 2-row, but if you look, let me get a little bit of light. Oh, there. It's focusing a little bit, maybe. Look at the size of those cores. They're 1-inch cores. This radiator will effectively flow the same as a stock 4-row. So that's nice. Everything's going back together nicely. I need to get under this thing and get the drain plugs out of the block. I want as much of the old coolant and water out of it as possible so we can fill this new system back up with purified water and antifreeze. I got to turn that fan back on. It's miserable hot out here, but wanted to get some of this here on film. Okay, see you in a little bit. Just like that. Good, the upper bolt holes do line up. Just got one little bit more of an issue down here. Gonna have to do a little bit of body work. And this isn't the fault of the radiator. It's the fault of previous damage to the car. Well, the only way that ends is with a hole in the radiator, so I got to do something about that. Other than that, boy, this thing fits good. Fits real good. No complaints. Well, let's see if I can't push this back out down here and go from there. Maybe my best bet is to break out the old porta power. yeah. Much better. Got that shit out of the way. It needed fixed anyway. It ain't perfect. By God, I ain't no body man. Looks like this is gonna work for us. Now, this is what I did here, because last thing I want is freaking electrolysis eating up this brand new radiator. Best thing you can do for your aluminum radiator like this is run a ground to it. And if you can see, well, you can see what I did here. Got a ground cable from here to here, and then our body ground over here to the battery cable. Made this all out of number 6 wire. Well, this is number 4, and then this number 6 jumper. Everything's soldered and heat shrink. These connections will last forever. They're weather tight, and best of all, it'll keep the electrolysis from eating up this new radiator. Basically, the way that works is it provides a ground for the stray voltage to get out of the system rather than traveling through the water and corroding the inside of the radiator. Got to worry about that too with any of this aluminum components on the engine, even water pump. And after we ground about 1/8 of an inch out of this mounting slot on each side of this radiator, boy, it fit nice. So if you guys at Champion are watching this, this ain't the first time I've heard of it. This is the first one I've ever bought. I really do like the radiator so far. But think about retooling it a little bit. All we need is about another 1/8 of an inch to the outside on this lower slots. The upper holes mounted just fine.